This is the 2026 Ford Expedition Tremor. Does it check off all of the right boxes? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. We're at All-Star Ford in Stonewall, Louisiana for today's video. If you want to know more, check out the link down in the description of the video. I know it's a mess. It looks like it's been off-road. It's pollen season. So it's either pollen or water droplets everywhere if we try to spray it off. So bear with us on that. We apologize. It's just the way it is. Here on the front end, we're going to find our full LED lighting. That's LED headlights, LED daytime running lights. You're also going to have your LED fog lights located right down here. And you'll notice with some of the colors, the accents here, that's part of this Tremor package. But it's not just about the colors and the exterior look. There's actually a few things here, such as the off-roading suspension. You've got the underbody protection. You've got the 373 e-locker. All of that's going to be here. So a little bit more off-road capable than some vehicles that are going to be out there. The Expedition logo, nicely placed here. I like that it's in black. It matches the exterior color here, and a couple of different colors going on here between some gloss black, got a gray finish here on the front end, and you can see right here, you've got your front view camera right there underneath the Ford logo. This model is going to be four-wheel drive, and we're going to have 18-inch wheels, spare tire out back underneath, and you're going to notice a little bit more of that accent right here. Tell me what you think about that. Some people like that, some people don't. I'm always curious to know. Side view mirrors, turn signal indicators built in, heated, power adjustable, blind spot monitoring built in, all of that's going to be here. And how about your remote? Everything is here. Lock, unlock, remote start. You can open and close the power tailgate. Everything is here that you need. There's even a mechanical key located inside of the remote if you ever need to get into the driver's side door. If the battery dies or something like that, there is your mechanical key right there, just so you can see it. And my cameraman was getting ahead of me right there, but we're going to keep up with it. There's your Tremor logo, so you're going to have that on the doors right here, and the affixed in place steps right here. Going to have a kind of a rough texture to them, a graphite style finish, grip tape on a skateboard, something like that, to keep people from sliding or slipping, having trouble if their feet or shoes are wet, slick, whatever. No big deal where that's concerned. I like the size of the windows here, nice and large, very easy to see out of, good for a full-size SUV. We're going to have our roof rails located up top. If you need, you can buy the crossbars, and that helps you increase your cargo space beyond quite a large amount that you already have. And we're going to finish things off here with our LED tail lights. Very unusual to find vehicles that don't have LED lighting anymore. And you'll notice again, you're going to have that accent color around the Expedition name right here. And just a really overall nice look. Now you'll notice there's no rear window wiper. It doesn't mean it's not here. It's just concealed away inside of the rear roof spoiler. That's a good thing. And you'll notice that you have your hitch receiver right here. You can tow up to 9,600 pounds. That's a very respectable number for a full-size SUV. Under the hood is the 3.5 liter EcoBoost V6. This is the high output version. What does that mean? That means you're going to be putting out 440 horsepower and 510 pounds-feet of torque. Made it to a 10-speed automatic transmission. 0 to 60 will come in about 5.3 seconds. Top speed is governed to 120 miles per hour. And how about your MPGs? Here's what we're going to have. 15 city, 22 highway, 18 combined. 5.6 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. And we're going to work our way back here to the gas tank. Your gas tank size, 23.3 gallons in capacity, and on a full tank of gas in the city you should be able to drive about 350 to 370 miles. Out on the highway your range will be about 500 miles to 515 miles. Not a guaranteed number, just like with those MPGs, those are estimated. A lot of variables go into that. You may be above, you may be below, you might be right on those numbers. It might change from one day to the next. To open your power tailgate, which is a split tailgate setup back here, we can push that button on the tailgate. There's the button on the remote, a button on the interior as well. Now here's how it's a split tailgate. You're going to have the upper and the lower sections here. This is going to open up and give you access to everything that you have back here as far as your cargo space goes. Now, I'm going to use the buttons right here to lower these rear seats. You can also lower the middle seats. The difference between the two is very simple. You can lower and raise these rear seats with the buttons. You'll have to manually put the back seats back in, or middle seats back in place, but you can lower them down. How about your cargo space? 22.9 to 69.9 to 108.5 cubic feet, which is what we have right now. And we're going to also have a 120 volt power outlet over there, as you can see, so you can take advantage of that if you need to. You can see one of the tie downs. There's a few little tie downs here in a few different places. A little bit of space right here and a little more space underneath the floor. There you go. As far as your storage space goes, just a little bit. This is also how you're going to gain access to lowering your spare tire if you need to do that. And I like that all you have to do is push the button right here. The button on the right closes everything up. The button on the left will close everything up and lock the interior at the same time, just to let you see how this works in action. One thing I haven't talked about is the panoramic sunroof. That's going to be up here, nice and large. You've got the power shade that you can draw forward if there's too much light coming in or whatever your need is with that. That front portion will open. As far as our door panel goes, you're going to notice that orange contrast stitching, part of this Tremor package. Plenty of room with the armrest. It's nice and comfortable. A little bit of storage space up in the front, and then the nice large door bin down there. There's a ton of room down there. The one thing that's a little different here, which is not necessarily bad different, is the way the door handle works. So instead of pulling out on something like this, you've got the door handle right there that works that way. Now, as far as your middle seats go, the good news about this is that your middle row passengers can increase leg space. For rear seat passengers, there's a release right underneath the seat in the middle. You can see that you can move these seats back and forth. So that's pretty easy to deal with. If you want to lower the seat back down like this, there's a lever on the bottom right there on the side. We'll show that to you real quick just so you can see that. I'll get this seat back in place. It does recline with that same lever. As you can see, there is a lot of recline built into that seat. On the top of the seat is a button that allows me to get the seat up and out of the way. So I'm going to push that button, seat gets up. I'm going to have to give it a little bit of help right there, but we will go ahead and hop into this third row, get everything in place here. We'll pull that seat to right there. Now that's not as far back as it goes. You can see there is a lot of leg space back here as far as potentials go. The seat would normally be about right here. To recline back enough, yeah, it could be really tight back here, but there is a lot of nice space. I like the roof-mounted air conditioning vents, nice and close to the passengers. And then we're going to find a couple of things over here to talk about as far as our cup holder. A little bit of space right here. We've got a USB port right there, you can see. And then I can actually move the seat back and forth just like this with the button right there on each side. That does have the ability to recline just a little bit. Let me move mine back and I'll show you that I do recline some, although I did hit my head right there. So it's not the highest area back here. You're gonna have a lot more headspace in the second and third rows. And the good news is that you can either use the pass-through to get out or push this button and get the seat back up and out of the way. How about the armrest? It's actually pretty long. I like that because I don't have my arm hanging off like that the way I do in some of the competitors of the Expedition. So that's nice to have. You can move that up and out of the way if so desired. We're going to have the rear seat pockets right here, and underneath in this area a couple of USB ports will be located right there in case those are needed. There's actually two here and two there. We also have another 120 volt power outlet right down here, so a few different options for connectivity. The third zone of climate control, fan speed, temperature, direction, all that stuff is here. You can put it on auto, you can turn it on and off, and the heated seats for the middle row passengers managed here as well. The sticker price is $84,985. Let's see what else you get for that price. Now, I did bring the shade forward so you can see that. That's the power shade I was talking about. And that is controlled right here on the upper console. You can open and close the sunroof right here. You can turn on your lights if you need to, your reading lights. And we have a sunglass holder right here, which is going to be nice and convenient. Got my sunglasses sitting in there right now if I wanted to take advantage of that. Got your rear view mirror right there. And when we look across here, we're going to have the Expedition logo right here. Nice trim. I like the way everything works. It looks nice. What do you think about this style of shifter? You're going to have the rotary or dial shifter, basically. Some people like that, some people don't. I'm always curious to know what everybody thinks about that. You'll have your knob right here for turning the radio on and off. You can push that button, adjust the volume, and then you can see some of your things here, such as turning the auto stop start on or off, traction control. We've got our hazard light button right there. You can see what else is going on there as far as that goes. We can bring up our cameras, which we're going to look at in detail in just a minute. But we'll go across to the dash area over there. You can see some of that contrast stitching that's going on. And then we're going to have our glove box down below. Nothing out of the ordinary, but it is here, just so you can see. And then the door panel over there on the passenger side. Large armrest, plenty of room with the door bin once again, as we saw earlier in the video. So a lot going on where it's concerned. And before I grab the camera, I'm going to let my cameraman show you something here. It's a little bit easier to show this way. There's your Tremor logo. Now, the one thing I do wish, we see this a lot with automakers, if you're going to have that on the front seat, have it on all of the seats. It's not on the seats back there. Just one of those things that I find rather interesting that, in my opinion, would be added value. Now, we're going to have our controls out here for our side view mirrors. If we want to use that, you can control everything there. There are power folding. I didn't mention that earlier in the video, but that is what this button is for right here. You can adjust everything. One touch down and one touch up at all 4 windows. That's going to be useful. Lock and unlock is right here. And down here, you'll find everything for your drive mode selector, 4-wheel drive selections, all of that. You can open and close the power tailgate right there if you want to do that. And how about the driving modes? Well, we'll go through our modes here. You've got tow haul, eco, sport, slippery, off-road. Go to rock crawl if you want to. All the way over here back to normal. That's also going to be there. And a very nice looking driver's display. Kind of an interesting setup here. It's a little bit further away than what we often see in a lot of vehicles, but it still seems to do a good job. You can see that you have your digital speedometer there and all that good stuff. But one thing that's interesting here is that you use your steering wheel controls here to manage a lot, including the tilt and telescopically adjustable steering wheel. Now, what we're going to do for that is come right here, and all I did is just push anywhere here. I can change the position here, as you can see, just like that, and all I'm doing is just using this area. We can go in and go out as far as the telescopic feature goes, just so you can see what's going on there. It's a very interesting setup, that's for sure. Depending on what your personal needs are, you can also come in here and go and select whatever you need to. Just using this as a trackpad, ultimately, that is going to get the job done for you. Over here, everything for your front and rear window wipers, turn signal indicators are right there, and guess what? Good reason to use the turn signal indicators, at least on this model, is the fact that you have your mirrors or your cameras in the mirrors that are going to show you the blind spot monitoring. I know it's got that kind of animated looking effect right there. That's not really happening. That's just through the lens of my camera. Now let's talk about the center screen. One thing I like about the screen, that it sits at a 90-degree angle. That's going to greatly reduce any issues with glare. You can wirelessly pair your smartphone. You can see some of the options that we have right here. You can also come in right here and see some of the other things that are available when we come to this area, just to show you a little bit of what's going on depending on what you need to do. If you want to find all of your icons, here they are. Go through whatever you need to do. You've got Google, all that stuff, Google Maps, all of that's going to be here. Google Assistant, you can see all of your different options for things you can listen to or ways you can listen. We have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You got messages right there, and you have YouTube. Now, the one thing about it, I'm going to show this to you real fast here, is the fact that if we come in here, we can actually search if we want to, and let's see if it will come up for me. I'm not sure if I can get it to come up like I did earlier because I searched for it, but I can actually bring up my YouTube channel, and you can see something familiar on the screen right now. Videos that you may be getting ready to watch after you're finished watching this one, because it is the Vehicle Visionary YouTube channel, and we'll hit that right there and let you see what's going on. So you can hear a familiar voice, but I wanted to show you something very important here. Here's what's going to happen. When I go into drive, this is what comes up. Just so you know, you're going to have to close the app right there. But just to show you some of what's going on and some of what's here, this is very convenient. Now I'm going to do what I said I was going to do earlier. I'm going to hit the button right there and bring up the cameras. There are quite a few different views depending on what you need to see. You can come right here and see all around the vehicle, wherever you need to see. We'll go right here and just change our view from one place to another. You can X out of that. Just to give you an idea of how this system works, there you go. You've got your front and your rear view cameras. All of that's going to be here. And when you're ready, you can just X right out of that. And you've already seen what all is right here as far as the buttons and the switches go. We're going to work our way down here to the center console area. And a couple of interesting things to talk about. First of all, here is where we're going to find our USB. All of that's going to be here. Everything for trailering will be right here. If you want to use that to actually do any trailering, we can conceal that away. Cup holders are right here. One thing that's interesting is the arrows right here. What happens when I hold down this arrow? Well, it gets the console back and out of the way. Now, there's a couple of reasons why you might want to do that, one of which would be the fact that you can take advantage of this space right here. You can also send the drink holders back to your passengers back there if they're too lazy to reach all the way up there. And then we just bring it back up right here. You can stop anytime you want to if you need to, or if you have a certain place where you want that to be. More of that orange contrast stitching here throughout the interior with the Tremor trim level that we're going to have. And then when we open the center console lid, here's what we're going to have. We're going to go right this way, and the tray right here is removable. There is quite a bit of space within, and there is more connectivity here, as you can see. Number one, the 12-volt power outlet. You can put that cover down and conceal that away, and USB connectivity is going to be here as well, and a large amount of space. Okay, here we go on our test drive with the Expedition. Now, you may wonder, with that 3.5 liter under the hood, is it enough? It definitely is. It gets down the road just fine with no problems whatsoever. Plenty of horsepower and torque, as you know from the numbers we gave earlier in the video. A nice, comfortable ride quality. I like that, even though you do have a little above average for the Expedition off-roading capabilities. It doesn't mean the ride quality is more rough and rigid than it might be otherwise. And while your driver's display, the whole screen right there, is further away than you have in a lot of vehicles, you really can't tell the difference. Everything is big enough and easy to see. I don't think anybody's going to have any trouble with that. And tons of room here in the driver's area, the front seat, and the middle row area as well. You'll also find a lot of adjustability built in here between the steering wheel and the driver's seat. Both seats do have lumbar support, so we're going to have driver and passenger seats that are adjustable. Going to have their lumbar support there for you in case you need to take advantage of that. Two-way lumbar support, so a good bit of adjustability options, everything you need for getting comfortable. The technology here, at least in my personal opinion, doesn't seem to be too hard to learn or use. But one thing you might have noticed if you have watched the entirety of the video that I did not talk about is something that is not here, and that is going to be a wireless charging pad. So something to think about in case that's something you're interested in. It's not here. Ford did away with that in the last couple of years with the Expedition. What do you think? Should there be a wireless charging pad here within the interior of this truck? For me, in my GMC Sierra, I have a 2500 HD. It has a wireless charging pad that works sometimes and doesn't work sometimes. If I really need to charge and just have consistency where that's concerned, I can just take advantage of one of the USB ports and plug everything in, and problem solved. But that's one of those things to be aware of. You also have the Bang & Olufsen sound system here with multiple speakers throughout the interior. It's going to sound nice, give you that good audio quality. It is adjustable. You can go into your center screen and make adjustments on all of that if you want to do that, depending on how you want things to sound. Overall, a very nice vehicle with a lot of great capability. And there it is, the 2026 Ford Expedition Tremor. Does it check off all of the right boxes? Tell me what you think down in the comments section. I'm always curious to know. I would like to say a special thanks to our friends here at All Star Ford in Stonewall, Louisiana. Don't forget, if you want to know more about this model or anything else at the dealership, there's a link in the description of the video. Thank you to everybody for taking the time to watch. I appreciate all of you. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. That's helpful and appreciated. Make sure to subscribe and share this video on your timelines on social media so other people can see it. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and we'll see you there.